You know, the other day I realized something about myself. In all of my life being a Pokemon fan, I've only played the games in the same manner. I catch my favorites, ignore everyone else, and I stuff the box legendary to the back of my PC and I never use it again. And for the most part, that works perfectly fine. Until now. Pokemon Nuzlocke are a trial that every YouTuber who plays Pokemon must endure at some point, and today my time has come. Well, it was actually last month, but still you get the point. The rules are simple. Any Pokemon who faints is considered dead, and you cannot use it again in battle. I can only catch the first Pokemon I find in each route, with a few exceptions here and there. And last of all, I cannot overlevel my Pokemon. And for me, that means that my team cannot be at a higher level than the strongest Pokemon of each gym leader's Elite Four, whatever I'm currently facing. I picked Platinum as my game of choice, since it was the one I loved the most as a kid, and also the one I'm most familiar with. I named myself after, well, myself of course, and chat decided that our rival's name would be J-Schlatt.
Yeah, I watch men.
Yeah, okay, let's go with that. We start the run, pick our starter, and J-Schlatt challenges to our first battle. Which we lose. Yeah, turns out our Chimchar just had the worst possible nature and was unable to knock out rival's Piplup before it knocked out us. Wonderful. But that's okay. Nuzlocke don't start until you get your first Pokeballs. After that, we go back home, meet the happiest man on earth, and then go to Professor Rowan's lab. There we get the chance to actually name our first Pokemon, and under chat's influence, our female Chimchar was named Pokimane. Don't look at me like that.
Like if you're a broke boy, just say so.
So with Pokimane on our side, we received our first few Pokeballs, which we used to capture our first few party members. One Topic the Shinx, Jontron the Starly, Markiplier the Bidoof, and Jaden Animations the Bidoof. On the way to Oreburgh City, we stop by a school to give J-Schlatt his things after his mom kicked him out. Then we meet Looker, he does his whole hyperactive introduction, and oops, I guess J-Schlatt wants to battle again. Nothing new, the only difference is that now he has a Starly, so we avenge our previous loss and take the win with us. On the way to Oreburgh, we also catch another 3 party members. Phoenix the Zubat, Emiru the Geodude, and a Ponyta named Diagonaut. By the way, between all of this, I realized that my Pokemon had contracted Pokerus, which, in case you don't know, has a 1 in 21,000 chance of happening. I don't even know who gave it to us, I just found out mid-recording. We also evolved Pokimane and teach her Bullet Punch, so now we have a step priority move against the Rock-type gym. After that, we go to the mines to find the gym leader, and you know, he's a young fella, so I approached him and asked him if he had that yacht for the Rizzler. But his only response was screaming in pain and start breaking stuff. So I guess we have to put him down. Starts off with Geodude and we send out Markiplier. My plan was to use Growth to set up, and thankfully he doesn't do enough damage to me, so we knock out Geodude in one hit and then he sends out his Onix, which also dies in one hit. Now his last Pokemon was the one I was actually worried about. Corenidos doesn't seem intimidating until you realize that this thing has a base 125 attack before evolving, so even neutral hits can put us in a pinch. But that's okay, he can't KO us in one hit, and with +2 special attack we can easily win this with a counter attack and... Oh no. Shit. Pokimane can't take 2 hits and survive, and Markiplier can't take another hit, so in a very disappointing fashion, we have to make the first sacrifice of the run. We say goodbye to Jaden Animations, and Pokimane clears it with 2 Bullet Punches. A sad moment, indeed, but this is how Nuzlockes go. At the very least, I can be assured that this decision will not come back to haunt me for the rest of the game. I'm sure of it. Anyways, we're done here. Coming back to Jubilife City, we encounter the professor being robbed by some dudes wearing a bowl cut. We promptly bully them for being different than us and then move on to Floaroma Town. On the way there, we capture another 2 party members, Subaru the Psyduck and Ironmounds the Shellos. Yes, I'm adding VTubers to the mix. Now this town doesn't actually have a gym leader, but it does have a major encounter in the form of Mars from Team Galactic. So again, we bully our way through the grunts until we can actually fight her. But to be honest, she doesn't really pose much of a threat. Emiru knocks out her Zubat, and Jontron and Pokimane finish up her Purugly, so now we can just finally move on to Eterna City. We catch another Bidoof on the way there, and I decide to name it Quabblecops. Alright. Once we arrive in Eterna City, I prepare myself mentally for the next challenges and ready my nerves for... Oh my god, hi Cynthia, how are you doing? Oh, thank you for the HM cutout, that's really nice of you. See ya! What was I talking about again? We catch a Meditite and name it SQC, and off we go to the Grass Gym, which Pokemon just steamrolls through alongside Jontron. Yep, not much to see here, people. So now we move on to the Galactic HQ, and well, if there's one lesson a person needs to learn when doing a Nuzlocke, is that you have to take every battle seriously, because if you don't, you'll regret it. It doesn't kill me, right? There's no way it kills me.
I hate your guts, I hate your family.
Emerald goes down to arguably the dumbest decision in the run yet, but that was simply the tip of the iceberg. Jupiter is the Team Galactic boss we need to deal with this time, and she carries a monster with her. Skuntank, a fully evolved Poison Dark Pokemon, whose only weakness in our team was literally just murdered. This is not gonna end well, is it? She leaves with Zubat, and I start with Pokemon. And in a moment of inexplicable intellect, I forget this thing has wing attack, and lose half my HP on the first turn. Thankfully I had a citrus berry and also outsped her, so Zubat goes down without much struggle. But then she sends in Skuntank and that thing just doesn't want to die. My first strategy was to try to lower its attack with Intimidate, but in doing so I make all my team members take way too much damage. So at the end of it I decide to finish him up with Pokemon, but because I didn't equip her with a Pecha Berry, she ends up dying from poison. And it's up to Jontron to finish the fight. Well, that was a disaster. Losing your starter this early is really bad, but I guess we were being way too overconfident up until now. If anything, this is a wake-up call, so with our heads lowered, we move on to... Oh my god, hi Cynthia, how are you doing? Oh, thank you for the egg, yeah, thank you, bye-bye. I am terrified of that woman. Before moving forward, we made a stop to the underground and managed to find a skull fossil rather quickly. So I dodged my way back to Warburg City in order to revive our next team member, KSI the Cranidos. And you know what, jokes aside, I'm actually pretty sad about our losses. We just lost two amazing Pokemon, and I lost them due to my own poor decisions. But at the very least, now I can rest assured knowing that I won't make the same mistake again. Okay, come on, Markiplier, you can take a hit, right? Anyways, we caught another 3 Pokemon on the way to Hearthhome. Kai-Sen at the Geodude, Jake Paul the Machop, and Wolfie VGC the Bronzer. Honestly, I'm just naming them whatever at this point. We crawl our way into Hearthhome City, and while doing so, we manage to catch another Badoo, and in Markiplier's honor, I name it after his dog, Chica. Now before we move on, I need to warn all of you something. What you are about to see is arguably the worst series of decisions ever made in a Pokemon Nuzlocke, right after that one Onyx clip from Alpharad.
And then have the
what did I say, Brayden? What did I say?
For context, up until this point I was hardcore leveling my Pokemon with no rare candies, meaning that I was always at a certain risk of them fating in the wild. But for the most part I felt like I was pretty safe. Until the beaver showed up. This fucking rodent! I lost 3 different party members before I was even able to fight the goddamn gym, all because this stupid discount capybara just wouldn't let me escape. It was at this point that I came up with another strategy to get us to an ideal level. Can you guess what it was? That's right, we're going to cheat. And before any of you put your grimy little fingers to the keyboard, let it be known that the gods of Nuzlocke themselves also do this, and so I shall not be judged by our words. But it does kind of feel wrong and shameful to be honest, so I get it. After the massacre you just witnessed, I've picked whatever remained of my team and leveled them up to level 25, one level below the next gym leader's strongest Pokemon. Speaking of which, Fantina is our next major opponent and oh my god, we are not ready. 2 of our team members are fairly easy to deal with, but her ace Pokemon is a Mismagius and just take a look at these stats. Dear god, what the fuck? No wonder people hate Fluttermane. fight begins and she sends out her Duskull. I get rid of it fairly easily, but she immediately sends out Miss Magius, and things only go downhill from there. I try my best to keep my party members safe, but somehow she just keeps reading my switches, and one by one, our team members fall. Even then, I try to do as much damage as I possibly can, until all we had left was Lilipichu the Ampon, which we caught in a honey tree in Floaroma, and the odd one out. We finally managed to KO her Miss Magius, but she still had a Haunter, and with both of my Pokemon being so low, I was ready to accept the end of the run. It was a good run. I will never make fun of a brony again. After almost having a heart attack and experiencing the equivalent of the Shibuya incident but with Pokemon, I stayed put together a team with my remaining Pokemon and continued forward. Oh yeah, J-Schlatt showed up again too, I guess. We beat the shit out of him. Again. But you know what, I'm just glad we got over that part. At least we can get another encounter over here, and you know it's a fucking beaver again! Celestian Town is a very quiet place with not a lot to do, so we go down to the bottom of Celestian Ruins in order to catch ourselves an Unown. A noon. Fuck it, I don't give a shit at this point. After that, we trace back to the Ghost Tower and we catch ourselves a female Ghastly, and I actually have no idea what to name this one. I mean, what content creator can fit perfectly with the concept of an ethereal ghost of a woman? Perfect. Nothing else to do here, so we just move on to the next route. Oh yeah, by the way, little mishap, Iron Mouse was stomped to death by a pair of horses. How sad. Oh yeah, and then our next two encounters were a Staravia and an Abra. And we lost both of them too. Wonderful, perfect, absolutely amazing. Moving on! Veilstone City is next, and there's actually quite a lot to do in here, so let's cover it one by one. First, we buy ourselves some TMs for the future, then we grab a rare candy, cause we definitely need those, and then we go to the route below to catch ourselves the two new party members, Amarath the Geodude, and the absolute GOAT, PewDiePie the Girafarig. I teach PewDiePie Reflect, and, well, off we go to the fighting gym. Now, Maylene is not that scary of a gym fight, but her strongest team member is a Lucario, so it's best not to take her lightly. I open up with PewDiePie to set up Reflect, then use him and Phoenix to KO two of her Pokemon. After that, I swap over to Chica to paralyze her Lucario, and the odd one out takes the win for us again. Hey, I said she wasn't easy, not that the fight would take long. Overall, perfectly executed. Each day I love this horse more than before. Next up, Dawn shows up and tells us to go get her Pokédex back, so off we go beat the shit of Galactic Grunts again. And after that, we finally unlock the ability to use Fly.
Marvelous!
Not much else to do here, so now we move on to Pastoria City. On the way there, we catch a blue Shellos, and since the other one was Iron Mouse, this one is named Connor. How cute. We also catch Shenpai the Krogunk, and we totally not lose a Wooper in the Grand Marsh right after. Anyways, J-Schlatt shows up and proceeds to lose in the exact same manner as he did last time, but his team is getting a bit strong for my taste. We also take the time to grab ourselves a hidden Dawnstone, that, spoiler alert, we're never gonna use, and also evolve some of our team members. After that, our next major opponent is Crasherwake, the water gym leader. And holy shit, this guy is no joke. He leads with Gyarados, so you can't use grass moves. His Floatzel has amazing coverage on top of being fast as fuck, and his weakest team member just so happens to be immune to electric types. So yeah, we have our work cut out for us this time. Once again, I start with PewDiePie to set up Reflect, and I follow up with a devastating Thunder against his Gyarados, knocking him out in one go for us. He immediately sends out Floatzel, and I try to go for another Thunder, but we miss, and now it's too risky to stay. So I switch back to Chica before Reflects run off, and, well, I'm just going to let it play out for you. Reflect's still up, right? I'll risk it, fuck it. The Quick Claw! Quick Claw is an item that gives 20% chance to make its holder move first in battle, even if they are slower than the opponent. With this, Giga Drain leaves him just low enough for Phoenix to finish him off with Cross Poison, while also restoring enough HP for Chica to survive his Ice Fang. But not before having to sacrifice XQC for the safe switching, since I wasn't sure if we outsped him or not. His Quagsire goes down without much trouble, and in doing so, we acquire ourselves the 5th gym badge of the challenge. Now, losing XQC is a sad loss for sure, but for the first time I actually felt like it was a justified trade given my knowledge at the moment. And now you're probably wondering, wait, the video is almost over, but we're not even halfway done with the game. What happened? What, did the vengeful spirit of Jaden Animations finally kill the rest of your team or something? No, in fact, this is only the end of part 1 of the run. If you want to see at what point of the game we're at, YouTube saves all my live streams on the channel itself, but if you want to know when I'm going live next, well, you better hit the subscribe button, otherwise I'll be doomed to fade in the back of your head for all eternity. Or don't. It's your choice after all. But for now, this is where we stop. And come on, it's not like the other half of the game is going to be that difficult. Right? Right?